Ma Rainey's Black Bottom takes place in the late 20s. So was there any specific research you had to do in order to understand how your character might talk or walk or even think?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you I mean, August Wilson is such a prophet, so much of it is already woven into what is in the writing. But with anything, I'm like, we're in the 1920s. Like, what's happening in our world? What's happening in our country? Like, we are the descendants of slaves. Slavery was, it just recently ended. It's pretty, it's like it's right there. We're in Jim Crow law time, like the atmosphere is heavy. You don't know if, you don't know um if just like you're mistaken for someone, or if you're ever going to see some of your friends ever again because of just the way that this world works. It's so of course, like, that's a really heavy, large part of having access to who this woman Dusty was. Even though she's fictitious, she's very much alive and a person that I feel like existed.
And I got to admit, for the most part of the movie, I was very frustrated with Ma Rainey. I thought that she was being difficult and nitpicky for no reason until she explained why she wants to be treated the way she wants to be treated. And it was so powerful to me. And I was annoyed with myself that it took so long for me to get it. So I just want to know how relatable that is for you.
Not your fault, because it's like it's been so embedded and ingrained in us to apologize, and like, you don't want to say it, like, to be a Black woman is to be gaslit. So it's like, why are you so angry? Why'd you say it like that? Oh, why did you do it like this? Or she's difficult, or she's taking too long, and blah, 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 blah. But when a man does it, or when a white man does it, it's like, he's strong, he's assertive, he knows what he wants, he's clear. And it's like, obviously Ma is moving the needle because she really is auditioning for her worth and her value. And she knows that everything is conditional, and it's not really about who she is. It's not really about her soul. It's not really about her healing. It's, this commodity, this material that they can get and make money off of. And it's funny because you have these, the white owner and the white manager that really don't understand the concept of blues. Like, blues is the way we process our trauma. It's how we sing about it. It's an act of resistance, but it's only those who really have been through it that can actually like internalize, like, something as silly as, even if she is talking about my jelly roll, or, daddy, please come back to me. Like, this is like it's heavier than they can even really conceptualize. And so it's just ironic because y'all got me, you want me to hurry up, and you can't even wait for me to take a sip of it's more so it's the principle. And when you reach me, this is one day in her life. What do you think it was like to be her, to be heavier, to be queer, to be Black?
Right, dark skin too,
To be dark. What do you think that was like? So you think, like, on this one day that you found her, she gets here, she's being accused of the car not being hers, like, just the whole world telling you no, condescending you, telling you what it is and what it ain't, and no one really cares about how tortured it must be to be you. So how funny we are to, like, I'm saying, in our society, it's been embedded in us to be, I think, as Black people, as Black women, we're the nurturers, we're the understanders, we're the empathizers, we're the, like, I don't want to offend you, but yet we're in a society, like, which one came first? The oppressing, and then I have to be really careful about the way I put it to you, that this deeply affects me and my self-esteem and what I do. And, we can't even be paid correctly or fairly, or, like, it's so much of that, that it's like, yeah, of course you're angry. Of course you're gonna luxuriate with your Coca-Cola and take your time, your sweet time, because you're really just like, maybe today I'll teach you guys that I'm worthy, except I don't really feel like I am. because of the way I'm treated.
Yes, and this was the late 20s, like you said, right after slavery. However, we're still having the situation now, like with Tiffany Haddish and being offered nothing for the Grammys. So how relate and we're supposed to be grateful, you know, like you get exposure, Tiffany Haddish needing exposure. So I want to know how relatable this is to you. Are you still kind of walking into rooms or in sets wondering, oh my gosh, am I going to be perceived as the difficult Black woman?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I grew up with a mom who was very much like, you know, no one should know what race you are on the phone, and don't say it like that, and don't always be, and but that's also like rooted in like it's a self-loathing because you've been taught to not like yourself, because if you're like that, you're you know, we've been taught to assimilate, essentially, to if I'm just a little bit different or a little bit better, then maybe you'll see me for real. And then I can get to the other shit, you know? And I think, yeah, of course. I mean, so I think that I'm now balancing being very much I was very much the placater in my family and very much the one that internalized all of the family's stuff, the collector of the negative. And I think I took that with me in the world. So I definitely I didn't learn how to really stand up for myself or have boundaries or to say no, or that doesn't make me feel comfortable, or I don't really like the way this looks, or I don't want to wear my hair like that, or I don't really like, you know, this isn't really feeling good for me, to now being more, it's not so much about being difficult, but like giving myself the space to speak up and to know that like I'm still being respectful, but I have to be respectful of myself. Like if you want the best version of me, you know? And so, but it's funny to constantly be like, oh, I don't want to, you know, I hope I didn't come off that way. I don't want to offend. And, you know, even to have to preface things like that when you're just being human and being like anyone else that's, you know, your white counterpart or a man, like, you know, that didn't make me feel good. I don't really want to do that. And it's like, just knowing like maybe you said it wrong, or,
Right.
you know.
All right, and just one last question. So you were able to work with Chadwick Boseman for his very last film, and I know some people remember Chadwick for his acting roles or his activism or just being an inspiration in general. But I wanted to know, you know, how you remember him.
I remember him as just a joy, just a patient, willing, present, old soul that was so old he could be young and lend himself to the truth. And his characters, he was able to take Chadwick and be Levy and be all of these incredible roles that we've been able to see him be. And I just kind of remember him as something that's infinite and a very large present, a very large energy that touched who he was supposed to touch, and then he left, he graduated, and just a really special, good soul.